They brought the fight to him. They were on a mission to get him. They were going to stop at nothing to get at him. Understand this. Zachary Latham sits here today only because he refused to submit to a savage beating at the hands of 3 big, capable men who collectively outweighed him by well over 300 pounds. I'm talking about William Durham Sr., his then 21-year-old son, William Durham Jr., and his then 17-year-old son, Gage Durham. I didn't even include their mom, Catherine Durham, in the arithmetic, but she was very much a part of the attack as well. Now, these men and women were highly motivated. They acted in an uncontrolled manner. They trespassed upon Zach's property. They ignored repeated warnings to withdraw. You're going to hear video evidence. The whole event was captured on video. You're going to hear repeated warnings. You're going to hear Zach and his wife, Sarah, repeatedly admonish these people to back up, quote, back up, get off the property, get off the property. All these admonishments are ignored by the Durhams, and they continue on with their attack. Even moments before Zach was attacked, he was standing at the entrance to his garage, which the judge is going to instruct you later is part of the house or the dwelling. Those are legal words. So you're going to hear that this is his castle. We'll talk a little bit more about that concept later. The judge will talk to you about it as well. But he's in his home. He has no duty to retreat in his home. There's no duty to retreat in the face of an attack in your own home. He doesn't have to give any explanation why he didn't retreat or anything of the sort. So please understand that right from the beginning. So, as Zach is standing at the threshold to his garage, he's standing there armed with a taser and a knife as a warning to these intruders that it's a very ill-conceived idea to continue with this attack. He's standing there armed with a knife, and the intruders still won't withdraw. He's got a knife, who cares? Let's continue with the attack anyway. Now, as the prosecutor already told you, as you already know, Timothy Durham Sr. lost his life. And by any measure, that's an absolute tragedy. In that respect, there's absolutely no winners. But the Durhams, without question, visited this great sadness upon themselves. I said that in the very beginning from day one, and I'm saying it again today. The Durhams visited this tragedy on themselves. And here sits Zach, who acted in self-defense. He's wrongly accused. Zach only did what anyone would have done in that situation. The evidence will show that he acted in such a way as to protect himself, to protect his young wife, to protect his grandparents who were inside the house. By all accounts, Grandpa was upstairs sleeping and Grandmom was in her recliner to protect his friends, to protect his loved ones. In a nutshell, that's exactly what happened. So, again, I wanted to just give you that brief review. I wanted to have a concise statement of what happened before introductions. Again, my name is Nathan Perry, and together with my colleague, Christine Long, We represent Zachary Latham. You'll hear us refer to him throughout these proceedings as Zach. That's how we've come to know him during our time together. Now, again, we firmly believe that you're going to find Zach not guilty, and you're going to find that he acted in self-defense, because this case, in my experience, is very unusual insofar as all the relevant events are captured on video. 2 minutes and 40 seconds of total runtime. It's not very long. It's not very long at all. The recordings were captured by Zach's wife, Sarah, in a 1 minute and 8 second video clip and a 1 minute and 32 second video clip. Two separate clips, pretty much in sequence. So normally in my cases, or any case, a lot of times you have to, fit the pieces together like bits of a puzzle. But here, not so. Here you're going to be able to see with your own eyes, hear with your own ears. I'm going to ask you to believe what you see, believe what you hear. Not when anyone's trying to convince you. It's right there for you. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, as I indicated, there were two clips. Sarah's initial clip, 1 minute and 8 seconds, occurred, as the prosecutor discussed, in front of the Durham home. Catherine Durham also recorded the same event on her cell phone. It's about the same length as Sarah's recording. It doesn't change anything. I mean, pictures don't lie. They are what they are. Now, you're going to hear testimony that William Durham Sr. was a 19-year veteran of the Department of Corrections, having worked at Southwoods State Prison. And he was a member of Policemen's Union 105. So suffice to say that Zachary is incredibly blessed that this whole event was captured on video.
All right, so that's some of the defense opening statement. What do you think of this case so far? There is research out there that says that jurors will make up their minds in the opening statements. So they're very, very important. It's the first time the jury gets to hear your side of the story. Let me see what my guest on the show has to say. He's a retired deputy inspector for the NYPD. He's also an author of the book, Once a Cop. Corey Pegues is on the show. Okay, Corey, so the defense, you have already come right out and very clearly said that your assessment of this case is that you think it is truly a self-defense case and they may be victorious here. Did what he said change your opinion at all, or just maybe further bolster it?
Absolutely bolstered it. He said something that we had talked in the last segment about our right to retreat, and he just said that in his opening statement, said the judge will explain to you, like the garage. I thought it was a detached garage. I guess it's an attached garage to the house. So he already was at the threshold of his house. There was no right to retreat back to your home. He's already in his home. So I think that was a very powerful statement right there.
Yeah, being in the garage. I mean, it sounds like this could get really legally technical, doesn't it? Because in New Jersey, yes, the duty to retreat says if you're outside your home, you got to go back in. You can't stand your ground like you can in many other jurisdictions. And here he goes back in, yes, but he gets a knife and a stun gun. So the state is saying you broke the law in doing that and then going after these two men. You should have stayed in the house. But that was part of his house, right? The garage is an extension of the home. Stay right there, folks. We're going to be digging in more and more to this nasty neighbor case in New Jersey. It just started up, so we're kind of getting caught up while court is dark today so that we're all ready to go when they go back live. Send us your tweets. I've seen some of you tweeting about this early this morning. We're grateful for those. @Court TV is our network handle. @Julie Court TV is mine. We'll be right back after this.
It's a mystery that's captivated the nation.
This stretch is just so beyond what anyone could imagine.
And left a trail of dead bodies.
Lori Vallow Daybell, accused of triple murder, including her 2 youngest children.
You'll hear every dramatic moment with real-time expert analysis.
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
The Doomsday Cult Mom Murder Trial. Coverage begins next week after jury selection, only on Court TV.
Thanks for being with us here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Reckless driving in the neighborhood streets. And some previous confrontations are what led to some bad blood between defendant Zachary Latham and the Durham family. Now, Nathan is on trial accused of the crime of manslaughter for William Durham Sr.'s death. The trial began on Thursday. We're getting caught up on all of the action today so that we are ready to go when court picks back up next week. So we saw some of the defense opening statement. Here's some more. Let's watch together.
Before we get into what happened on May 4th, 2020, I just want to tell you just a little bit about Zach. He was born on April 20th, 2002. He was emancipated at the age of 16, and he married his sweetheart, Sari. Goes by Sarah. He joined the Army National Guard on waivers to account for his youth. He completed basic training out of Fort Sill, and he and Sarah were living with Zach's grandparents, David and Peggy Prestis, at 2986 Thornhill Road. Zach was finishing up his high school education, and shortly thereafter he was scheduled to begin advanced individual training in the Guard in further pursuit of his military career and his life with Sarah. So that's the background of it. I'd like to take this opportunity now. I want to unpack what happened on that day, May 4th, 2020, in the area of Thornhill Road. But first, I want to play the cell phone clips for you so you have an idea of what happened. And then we'll drill down on that. We'll get into some more specifics about what the testimony will be and what you'll see.
Why are you guys recording when you came out of us first? Just like you swerved in front of my son and I tried him today, right?
When?
When? When?
Yeah.
You don't remember? Today when you were driving this bike and you swerved and pushed him against the curb?
I didn't push him against the curb.
You did?
You got that on video? You got it on video? Because I didn't do that.
Yeah, we do have it on video.
I'd like to see it.
The cops already saw it.
Oh,
that sucks.
I know I didn't. You guys.
Right here in this truck.
What, him or him? I honked at him because he was in the way. I didn't hit him.
Wait, on the side of the road?
I didn't hit you though, man. She said you did.
No, I did not say that. You know what? What video? You're 18. Come on. You're 18. Come on. Get out of his face.
Get out of my face.
Get out of his face. No.
Get out of my face.
Get out of his face. Oh, did you hit me? Did you hit me? Wow.
You did it on video, right? Call the cops and say this all.
Just like you swerved in front of my son and tried to hit him today, right? When?
Yeah.
You don't remember? Today when he was riding his bike and you swerved and pushed him against the curb?
I didn't push him against the curb.
You did it? You don't remember?
What? You got it on video? Because I didn't do that.
Yeah, we do have it on video, on our house video, but the cops already saw it.
Okay, sure. I know I didn't, you guys.
You did. You were right here in this truck.
What, him or him? I honked at him because he was in the way.
He was in the way on the side of the road?
I didn't hit you though, man. I didn't say you did. She said you did.
No, I did not say that. You know what? It's on video, so get your straight, you little punk ass. Come on. You're 18. Come on. You're 18. Come on. Get out of his face. Get out of his face. Get out of his face. No. Get out of his face. Oh, did you hit me? Did you hit me?
Oh, and apparently what happened there, according to investigators, is that Latham gave Catherine Durham, the wife that he was calling Karen, a black eye, okay? Gave her a black eye where she said, did you hit me? Did you hit me? Did you hit me? That's according to investigators. So apparently she was accusing him of trying to swerve and run over her 17-year-old son. So the family, the Durham family, that's, you know, this case is really all about. William Durham, he goes by Timmy. He's the man that was killed. Catherine Durham's his wife, who you saw there in the video, you heard her voice at least, that was her recording it. She goes by the name Tiffany. And apparently Zachary Latham, the defendant, was never charged with assault for the black eye that he gave her in that little confrontation. But what you just saw there, that is what happened before the big confrontation where the whole family, the two sons, Billy and Gage, Tiffany and Timmy, all go over to the defendant's house. Now, what we don't know is the time frame. Was it close in time? Was it right after this, once he went home and parked his car? Or was there any time that passed in between? But this was the event that sort of was the catalyst for the big confrontation. Let me bring in my guest and talk more about it. He is a retired deputy inspector for the NYPD. Corey Pegues is with us. Corey, does this little bit of information change things at all for you? That there was an assault on the victim's wife by the defendant right there in that exchange before the big confrontation occurred?
First of all, let me tell you, this whole case is stupid. This should have never even happened. This was the Hatties and Mayfields. They're fighting over nonsense. This was stupid. Now, if this in fact was the precursor to the big event, I would like to see some. They love video. Let's see the video. Is the defense going to pull out video or pictures of her with a black eye, and she better have on the exact same clothing? It should have happened then. But this guy was a 19-year veteran of policing. Why didn't he call the cops? Were the cops called? And this is something we don't know. Were the cops called, and was there an assault charge levied against Zachary? We're waiting to see. But I think this case is going to go right down to the threshold of the house, right to retreat, and they're going to have to convince the jury that he was either in the right or he had to retreat.
I appreciate it, Corey. Yeah, this is very sad. You know, this didn't have to happen. And I think it's so sad. I mean, my heart breaks for the Durham family. You know, they lost their loved one. She lost her husband. The kids lost their dad. That's just awful. And I think if we can take anything away from this case, you know, don't get into these confrontations with people. I mean, look how this escalated, you know. I don't know that the jury is going to find this guy all that likable. I mean, he's a pretty unlikable defendant once you hear a lot of the story with him. He was very antagonistic, you know, like we talked about earlier in the last hour with Brian. You know, being a jerk is not a crime, and we're probably going to hear a lot of testimony about some jerky behavior by this kid who was 20. Or I'm sorry, he is 20 years old now.
Right. Now.
But at any rate, you know, it seems like he was looking for attention, right? He's speeding, he's posted to TikTok, he had like 40,000 followers, which isn't a ton, like that's decent, but apparently like when he would post these videos and get comments for, you know, riling up the next door neighbors, people, you know, would comment things and it would make him want to act more. You know, it's just very sad that everybody engaged in this, isn't it, Corey? I mean, any advice, you know, as somebody with a lot of law enforcement expertise, and we thank you for your service. You know, what do you say if you find yourself in a situation, you know, like this, where somebody is exhibiting dangerous behavior, illegal behavior, making threats, or assaulting you? You know, what are the best things for you to do?
Well, listen, my position is always to reach out to law enforcement. You want to, at least if this is going to end up with somebody in your family being murdered, you want to at least have an electronic footprint that this has been going on for quite some time. You have constantly called the police. You've made numerous complaints. Here's your reports. Here's the pictures of all these things that this person has done, trespassing, so on and so forth. You have to build that case, because if something like this happens, you're left with no, like you said, dad, grandfather, uncle, cousin, next door neighbor. It didn't have to happen this way. They should have involved the police, especially if my wife was assaulted by somebody and I'm on the PBA, I'm in the union, I'm calling the police direct and say, please get over to my house. My wife was just assaulted. I'm not taking it into my own hands.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, this young man just seems to want trouble, because even after this incident, I mean, think about this, after he has killed somebody, regardless of whether the killing was justified or not justified, he took another man's life. So we know that much. And then this is in May of 2020. Fast forward to February of 2021, not even a year later. He finds himself picking up aggravated assault charges where he's threatening a teenager, again, in a vehicle confrontation, a 17-year-old motorist. And Latham points at him. It turned out to be a pellet gun, but it looked like an AK-47, and pointed it at him and tried to ram that young man's vehicle after they got into a dispute. So, you know, even after this incident occurs, like, he's still getting into trouble. He sounds to me like he's exhibiting very dangerous behavior. And, you know, if he walks with this, Corey, you know, what do you think that means, you know, for friends and neighbors and people that are going to be encountering him if he's back out on their street?
Make no mistake or any doubt about it, that his chest will be poked out even heavier if, in fact, and I believe he will be found not guilty. Now he's going to be walking around with his chest poked out that, look, I got away with this. And you see, just a year later, he's still pointing artificial weapons at people. So he's very arrogant. He's being raised by his grandparent, it looks like. I don't know if they're very elderly, how much interaction they had, his morals, his values, all of those things come into play, but it seems like he was a little skewed with the things that he was doing. I'm not necessarily upset about TikTok, because that's what the young people do. I can't get my kids to get off that thing.
Sure, yeah, but, nobody's mad at TikTok,
he should
exactly.
Not have, right.
Yeah.
He should not have died. This gentleman shouldn't be murdered, should not have been murdered. I just wish that they did not go into his property, his house, to assault him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is so sad. This man lost his life, and very, very sad that here we are at trial, and we'll see if this is determined to be an illegal act or a justifiable homicide. That is the question. Corey Pegues, so glad that you were on the program today. Thank you so much for all of your analysis, all your tweets that were making me laugh today. Always a pleasure to have you. You got to get on TikTok. You would do so well on TikTok. You could have your kids set up an account for you.
For me.
No, TikTok's fun. I do TikTok. Yeah, I post court TV cases every now and again. Sometimes I dance. It's fun. All right, Corey, thank you kindly. Have a great weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. And we'll look forward to seeing you right after this quick break. Thanks for watching Court TV Live.
.com.
Thank you for being with us here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. The fight that led to William Durham Sr.'s death was caught on video. But it's going to be up to the jury to decide whether defendant Zachary Latham acted in self-defense or if he committed the crime of manslaughter, as the state of New Jersey says he did. Let's take a look back now at more of his defense attorney's opening statements to the jury.
I'd like to show you, it's going to help you to understand the evidence and the testimony as it comes in. It's going to give you a little bit of a clearer picture of what happened. So I want to show you a Google Earth slide of the scene in the location in question. So I'm not very tech savvy. I'll just do my best. Now, what happened earlier in that day, as you heard, on May 4th, is that Zachary got use of his grandpop's pickup truck and he and his wife, Sarah, and his two buddies, Dylan Aristide and Moses Rios, they loaded a dirt bike into the back of the pickup truck, and they went to a local wooded area to give this thing a run. I think that they were looking to sell it. Not really relevant, but they rode the dirt bike, enjoyed their time outside, and came a time they decided that they want to go back to Zach's house. So here you can see.
Keep touching it.
I'm warning. My finger's going to show up on this. This is Bayberry here. So they come back on Bayberry. Again, Zach is driving. Sarah's his front seat passenger. Moses and Dylan are in the back seat, or not in the back seat, in the bed of the truck, holding on to the dirt bike. So Bayberry here comes up to a T at Thornhill. You can make a left or a right. Zach would make a right to go to his house. Right here, almost, a little bit catty corner, but right at that intersection is the Durham home, 2900 Thornhill. And then you count 1, 2, 3, 4 homes in between the Durham residence and Zach's residence at 2986 Thornhill down here. This is where Zach lives. And I don't think there's any question or dispute that there's, I think, driveway to driveway, there's a little bit more than 500 feet separating the residences. Now, the evidence is going to show that William T. Durham Sr. Is ostensibly lying in wait for Zach. He sees Zach come to the T here at Bayberry and Thornhill. Zach successfully makes the right-hand turn onto Thornhill, and then, as you saw, Mr. Durham pulls his big giant Ford pickup truck out onto Thornhill with the purpose to block Zach's right-of-way. So now basically Zach is accosted in the middle of the street there, and immediately the Durhams, the entire family, descend upon Zach. You can see for yourselves that Mrs. Durham is completely antagonistic. The first words that you heard on the recording is, quote, "Yo, call the police." That's that. Yo, call the police. That's what he said. And then you saw on the video, Catherine Durham is encroaching. She's approaching with her sons, and she makes this allegation that well, we're accosting you in the middle of the street because earlier in the day you swerved at Gage, presumably while I was riding his mountain bike, early in the day, and quote, she says, quote, pushing him up against the curb, close quote. So as this is going on, Catherine continues to invade Zach's space. She's recording on her cell phone. Again, she goes into this threatening scenario where we heard Zach say, "I didn't," and I'm glad that Ms. Flynn brought up to you that she wants you to look at these videos closely. I want you to look at them closely too. I want you to, I may be getting a little ahead of myself, but I want you to look at the people that you see in the videos. I want you to take note of what they're wearing. Look at their size, look at their demeanor, their posture, and listen to the sounds of their other voices. Listen to the intonation, the pitch, the volume of their voices. All this is going to help you, again, as you get more evidence and testimony in the case, help you to put the picture together, put it together accurately. So, Catherine, again, continues with the threats. Zach says, do you have that on video? He and Sarah flat out deny it without hesitation, without equivocation. You know, that never happened. Do you have video of it? Quote, yeah, I do have video of it. And I already showed it to the police. What you're not going to see is that video that she allegedly has. Don't feel bad. I'm still waiting for it, too. You'll hear Zach say, I honked at him because he was in the way. So that's what Zach said. And again, Timmy Durham says, it's a little bit scary, but this is what she says, quote, get your straight, you little punk ass. Come on, you're 18. Come on, you're 18. Zach had turned 18 like 2 weeks prior. So again, while this is all going on and when things get slowed down, and what's going to be really beneficial for you as well is just an aside. You have these videos that show you exactly what happened, but they've actually been broken down into a frame-by-frame series of photographs. So there's not going to be any mistake on your part as to exactly what the facts are. During the course of the trial, I'll show you some of these photos. Not all of them, because literally there's thousands of them. But you're going to see when you slow things down that the Durhams continue to encroach steadily. This is like a progression. It's a fast progression, but a progression nonetheless. You'll see at one point, Timothy Durham Sr. in his big giant muscly Ford pickup truck hanging out the window. He's taunting Zach. He's instigating a fight. And he progresses to where he's hanging out the window, but then with the door open, continues to instigate the fight. At one point, if you listen closely, you'll hear him yammering about Zach now being 18 years old. As the Durhams continue to close in, again, look at the size and the shape of these guys. You'll see that the Durham's 21-year-old son, William Jr. is a well-muscled guy. You'll see that their 17-year-old son, Gage, is nearly a head taller than him. So these are big, capable guys. So as Catherine, you'll see in the evidence as it's presented to you, that Catherine continues to invade Zach's space. At one point, you'll see that she actually has her hand clutching the cell phone inside of Zach's vehicle. And you heard it. You heard what Zach said. He calmly tells Catherine to, quote, get out of my face. And you heard her curt response, no. So at one point, you heard and you saw for yourself, in an attempt to further escalate the situation, you hear Catherine say, did you hit me? Did you hit me? Close quote. Nobody hit Catherine Durham. Nobody. That's as plain as day. Nobody hit her.
This is a closed case. We will be right back with more of The Opens.
This was obviously a very unhappy person and did have a lot of rage issues. They thought he was a monster.
He threatened his neighborhood until one neighbor took matters into his own hands.
The defendant walked up that window and fired 6 times.
Danny had had enough. Now a jury must decide between murder and self-defense.
There's a lot of people who think vigilante justice is okay. The law disagrees.
Someone They Knew with Cameron Hall. All new episode Sunday, 9/8 Central.
Oh, on Court TV.
3.
Thanks for being with us here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. So we're diving in today to the nasty neighbor stabbing trial. Have you heard about this one? This one's gotten a lot of attention because of what the defendant was trying to do on TikTok. I guess he wanted to become famous. We're watching the opening statements. Let's go in for more together now.
So as she continues to ramp things up, continues to invade the space more, William Durham Sr., now actually alights from the vehicle. He gets out of the Ford pickup truck, and he's closing in. At this point, Zach concludes that reasoning with these people is, absolutely hopeless. That's a futile endeavor. The conclusion is that escape is the safest plan. And also, Timothy Durham Sr., now out of his truck, is closing in on foot. So this gives Zach an opportunity. He uses his hand to get Catherine's arm out of his truck. Like, shoot, Catherine, shoot. And then while Timothy Sr. is out of the truck, he takes the opportunity to go around Timothy Durham's Ford pickup truck. He probably rode up on the grass a little bit, but he moves around Timothy Durham Sr.'s truck, and he makes a beeline for the safety of home. The first clip basically ends exactly the way it began. You hear Zach saying, "Call the police." Zach wants help. He's concerned. He's been accosted in the middle of the street. So that's when the first video ends, and there is perhaps maybe a 1 minute, maybe even less, break between Sarah recording this event and Zach then proceeds down to his house, 2986 Thornhill Road, pulls into the driveway. He gets out of the vehicle. He goes into the house. Sarah and Dylan and Moses, they stay with the truck. And that's when we pick up the second video. So let's play that.
I promise you better back up because you're not going to like what's coming out. I promise you. No. No. Back out. Back up. Babe! Get off of my property.
Oh, you got his out of my property. You got me.
Get off the property. Get off of the property!
I understand that's a little tough to watch, and I'll get into a little aside. You are all judges in this case. I would say judges on par with the judge. You are judges of the facts. And you're evaluating the facts. Not emotions. The judge will instruct you on that later. Again, you saw these clips, and they are what they are. So, in spite of what you see or what you hear that makes you gasp, you're putting those emotions aside, and you're looking, at the facts of this case.